show must go on. It's the EU4 Dev Clash, and we are just joining into the game right now. Everybody's readying up. It's myself, Jake, and again on the call. Have we got you there, Johan?
Yeah, I think so. I'm using advanced technologies to be able to communicate with you.
Great.
It's called a telephone.
We still haven't invented those up in the Highlands, so I hope it's not full of voodoo magic there. People are already seeing on the map that the Ottomans are looking a bit occupied. That was actually the focal point of our stream last time. Okay, so server down. Are we going for the rehost? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, we're doing a rehost.
All right.
Anyway, so we had a few players that got eliminated last session, like the Palatinate, Danzig, Yao. So when you're in and have the game loaded, just take a look over Yemen and Ethiopia.
Yeah, there we go. Those are pretty established by the AI there. Ethiopia's made a good bit of land grabbing, and Yemen's huge for Yemen.
Yeah, and Yemen is that's played by the former Danzig player Klaus is cool, so it will be an interesting situation for him, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then looking over at India, Vijayanagar is looking very strong for Pretty Potato there, but Jaunpur to the north has a lot of consolidated and very rich territory. If you look at the development map mode for the north, man, Central Doab, Jaunpur, Lower Doab, it's good land.
It would. And Bengal had grown as well. Bengal was in a very nice position with Jaunpur, Malwa, Bengal, and Vijayanagar as player. It would have been an interesting death match, but now I think it's Bengal and Malwa is not going to last long.
Yeah, they're probably going to be food for, well, especially for Jaunpur. But that's the nature of it, right? You can't ensure everybody will be in their nations 100% of the time. But the show must go on. Speaking of, we are just starting up right now. I like the way that it always centers on Timbuktu here, because Groogies the host always get that update in Africa the moment we get going.
Yeah, let's hope we're not getting out of syncs. But also, there was another player going in East Africa. I put a player in Kilwa, and I can't remember the name of the player.
We got Ghost over in Kilwa.
Yeah, so that would be interesting for the Portuguese player that's trying to colonize up the East Coast, because fighting a player is not fighting an AI.
Yeah, it's a very different story, especially when they're established in the region and you're just doing colonies around. For example, the Portuguese, the land they have at the Cape could be Kilwa food if they're not careful.
Yeah, this is interesting. So let's see what players. We only have the wars in the what's it called, the
well, there's only AI
Crusade.
wars at the moment. Oh, yeah. Well, no, that just changed immediately. Jings, everyone's at war. What's going on?
It's a war in the West. It's a war with England. England.
But it's against Burgundy. Burgundy got too much aggressive expansion, and for that, they're facing a very sizable coalition of AIs here, but also players.
The Pope is on the side there. Brunswick, everyone's attacking the Burgundians.
And both France and Castile decided not to join in on this fight. So Burgundy's going to go it alone, and we see how loyal France and Castile were to them. We've got the French paradox as Bohemia joining back in. Yeah, that looks disastrous for Burgundy. What did they do that caused all this? Looks like they ate up... They would have gotten Limburg, maybe Lune.
Yeah, we didn't follow them because it's like...
I just assumed they would be rock solid safe since they've got France and Castile on their side. But remember the certain victory card situation we had around here?
Yeah, England wants the victory card, but who's leading the war? It's Savoy.
Savoy, you know, the one that we're told can't be trusted. They're the one going in for it.
Yeah, and there's pretty much, this is a disaster.
Oh, it is for Burgundy.
Entire Europe and France and Castile are basically.
Yeah, I don't know why they just left their ally to die there.
Oh, poor Burgundy. They have an army. They have a strong army. But
they do. They're going to have to pick their fights well. This is a show superiority war, but there's only so much they can show against such overwhelming numbers. Gilgamesh in chat is pointing out that the French have surrendered before the war even started. This isn't really the era of French surrendering, but it's not looking good for Burgundy. That said, they're bringing all the fight they can. They pulled out because the numbers weren't looking too great for them. But that leaves Antwerpen right open. So how many players are actually involved against Burgundy here? You'd expect to see Savoy and England. No doubt about that. But we've... did I see... I thought I saw... Okay, the Papal State is involved as well. Switzerland...
I think Bohemia is getting out of sync because he was saying that, oh, my super good mod is not, it is a visual mod. So he's getting...
Goodbye French plonkadonks, St. Kaiser. Yeah, I think you might have to check his visual mod there. Okay, yeah. Burgundy's going in for more engagement, but he's not seeing it through.
This is
terrible retreat from Trier there. Oh, the occupations are coming in. His capital only has a capital fort on it, although it does have, what's that, Auxerrois next to it. I'm gonna need to hear from Burgundy, or perhaps even Burgundy's allies down the line. What fell apart diplomatically?
What allies?
Yeah, exactly. The only people he can count on now are his junior partners in personal union. Maybe the rebels will rise up and fight for him. That they are. Yeah, I think
I just like to point out that a lot of central and northern Mexico is Aztec green striped at the moment, so he's basically gobbling up everything he can.
Oh yeah, he's just fighting everybody he can, get his subjects, get his reforms pushed through. Because I think he wants to be able to function like most other countries as soon as possible. Ooh. As soon as the French paradox comes back in, potentially without his graphical mods.
Yeah, he had made a mod with we had a debug icon for the Pope or the Cardinals, etc.
And he wanted it back in.
Yeah, it's a picture of Duplo, so.
Hey, it was great.
Yeah, awesome.
You'd open up the religious map mode and there would be Duplo everywhere. But now it shows the Cardinals. Okay, I was taking a look at that English victory card. Now they can't take it in this war, but they could, for example, have Picardy released. Both Picardy and Hainaut actually, and that would get them free real estate in that area. Then again, France might be the one to gobble it up instead.
Kaiser Johan took the second reform, he took the legal reform, so he has two reforms now.
I bet it's the discipline one and the war exhaustion reduction one, right?
Stability cost modifier.
What?
I don't know.
Surprising. I thought he'd go for war exhaustion.
He has a pretty decent doom as well, 66 doom. It's not good, but he can always sacrifice...
Yeah, sacrifice the rulers of your subjects, that's the way forward.
But he only has two subjects, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, give it time. I'm sure he's getting more as we speak. Now, I have to wonder why so many people are invested in this war. They've got all the players in Italy, they've got Austria, they've got Starnan over in Switzerland, and many of the North and Central Germans.
Ooh, Utrecht is fighting colonial wars as well, so he's gobbling up the natives.
Oh yeah, it's Dutch North America on the menu for this one. He shouldn't underestimate the natives, though. They can pack a bit of a punch if you're a small nation going in there, and it looks like he's only got about 8,000 fighting.
And Grug is mopping up Songhai, or Stronghai.
Yeah. So previously we had Morocco and Tunis coming in to fight against Timbuktu and Benin. They put up a good defense, kind of blocked them out, and now they understand that they need to solidify what they hold here in Central Africa as soon as possible. And they're doing a bang-up job of it, right? Mali is reduced to next to nothing. And doesn't Benin have these other guys as subjects? Yeah, Katsina and kind of Bornu as vassals.
I think it's a good idea of him using them as vassals, because they will have a lot of troops because they're there, and they will have armies that are good enough that basically stall Tunis and making Tunis not able to pass through there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Tunis is going to give it another shot, though, because Tunis came out like a thief in the war against the Ottomans. stealing, well, maybe stealing's not the right word, but he certainly came away with a lot of decent land off of the Mamluks here. He got right there into Alexandria, and now he's poised and ready to take the rest of the delta.
There's still no wars in India, so...
They're probably taking a bit of time to figure out how their country is and where to go from there. Plenty of money in Jampur. He has like 700 ducats. And Vijayanagar probably eyeing up their next attack on Bengal. Remove them from the picture.
Yeah.
And the crusade, right? We can't forget the crusade that was fought previous against the Ottomans. They've really turned around the war score at 55%. It used to be very low. And now it looks like they're just mopping up the last occupations on the Ottomans. They want to get it as close to 100% as they can, although they're still not getting it out of battles there. And the rebels are now rising up, causing them more issues. But we can see how the occupations are. Tiki, for example, or Teke, or some part of southern Anatolia, is occupied by the Knights. I wonder if part of their game plan is to grab that province themselves. They don't have their core on the Ottomans here, sadly.
Yeah.
Stopped being a core of the Knights in 65. Perhaps that's when they lost Greece. Right, Burgundy's fortified south is gone. Nations are clawing up there. I'm really trying to figure out why. For example, what is Milan standing to gain from this? What is the Pope standing to gain from it? Also, who was leading the Pope armies?
Because it's like... They're helping... It's an inter-Catholic war. It's basically... They're all Catholics, so I don't understand why they're fighting. Because it's like...
This kind of infighting is what makes the Hussites and the Protestants rise up here. Right, France has already embraced Protestantism.
And so has Brandenburg, Sweden, Denmark, and Saxony.
Mm-hmm. And actually, Reformed is taking root in southern Iberia there. It's actually a center of Reformation in... where's that?
Cordoba.
That's spreading like a wildfire, but it's not been embraced by Castile.
No, because that was like... What nations will be Catholic? Is England one of the Catholic? No, they'll probably just go Anglican when they can. So they don't have any cardinals.
I think they got one in London, and that's about it. Scotland has more cardinals.
Cardinals are most in like Central Europe and Northern Italy. Weirdly enough, Northern Italy is also the staunchest papal allies. So.
Yeah, I think the Papal States wants to keep a lockdown on Italians, make sure they work together rather than against each other. Still, though, it's rich land, very powerful to consolidate, and if there's one thing Wiz is great at, it's his diplomacy.
Yeah.
I wonder what the future has in store for Burgundy then. Is this going to be a one-off beating, or are they going to come back and take more away from them once it's done? And those truces with France and Castile are already flooding away.
It's interesting. It's like it wasn't just the Italians, but England joined that war as well.
Yeah, I mean, England has a vested interest in keeping France and Burgundy weakened. They can't really take anything in this war, but we'll see what's spat out of Burgundy after this.
Everyone joined the coalition war against Burgundy.
Now, looking at it, they did get a lot of aggressive expansion. I think they must have subjugated Beirut there.
Yeah, probably.
Probably a non-co-belligerent within the HRE, and then...
But you have to look at your aggressive expansion in the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah, one bad slip up there and you'll find a lot of princes not particularly happy with you. I think that's the last of the Burgundian army making a stand in Cambresis, but it's not looking good for them.
Yeah.
D-Note saying he was cheering on the knights and willing to help them, and now the knights have raided his coast.
Well, what other coast should they raid?
Maybe he mistook them for Mamluk land? No, he's gone around the coastline raiding all he can. I guess he really needed that money.
Considering he used to have this huge fleet. He still have a huge fleet.
Yeah, I was wondering what came of it. The Knights still have their fleet. Are they still paying over the odds for them, though? Oh, goodness, he's facing a massive deficit right now.
I can understand why he went out raiding, but I mean...
Needs the money.
And the problem is that he's paying mostly in interest, so...
Kaiser Johann needs more speed so he can conquer more lands, I think.
But I think that the Knights are soon going bankrupt because they have 45 loads, and they can only have about 52 there, yeah.
I think if he gets some land out of this deal, then he'll be able to up the amount of loans he can have. So it'll work out for him if he gets a decent cut out of this. But not sure.
Green Raiders is running on a potato computer, so...
Sweden just likes to take it slow, you see.
Yeah, well, let's not get started.
Well, I wonder what Sweden's... Oh, the Burgundian War is over? Yeah.
So their bar was released, it seems?
We got Bar back, we got Lorraine back. They lost their overlordship of Brabant there. And France has re-allied them. Oh...
Poor Burgundy.
I mean, Burgundy kind of has to take that alliance, but what an underhanded move by France.
But I don't think France is that strong, though.
Yeah, I think if I were France, I would have let the truce run out with Burgundy and eaten up the Burgundian heartland. So
yeah, because both Castile, England, and Hungary have more development.
Yeah, we can take a look at the Great Power Map mode as well and see that France is only number 6 there with 407 of their own development.
Yeah.
Yeah, England's got quite a bit more development than that. Well, don't know what France has planned, but they're actually losing. They're losing score right now because they don't have their scorecard on Valencia.
Oh yeah, the victory cards.
That's
interesting.
Right. So it might be a tough one for France to come out here. I know it's early game, but he's going to need to strike out. And that's the thing, because France is a very powerful one. Quite often comes away with a trophy in the developer multiplayers, or sometimes whoever forms France.
Like Castile is a beast. They're earning. Having that Valencia victory card is helping him enormously.
Yeah, not to mention they're doing good on money, doing good on army, and doing great on their score. And they're going to be a tough one to dislodge.
Oh, Viennager is a happy nation because they got a victory card and they started with one.
Did they now? Let's have a look. Here we go. Right, they got the one on the Doab there. That would have been land that they had to take off of Bahmanis at the very start. So yeah, Vijayanagар, incredibly powerful position there. But if Jampur solidifies a bit more with some of that rich heartland, it might come to a clash, or they might ally. They're starting allied, but yeah. Jampur have plenty of other allies. They got the Timurids on their side, and Jingzat's a good Timurids. Not only did they fail to fall apart, they have made a land grab for... Well, they've gotten all the way to Baghdad. They'll be threatening the Ottomans here. Speaking of, war with the Ottomans is over. What do we have? What has changed?
Byzantium. We have Byzantium is Austrian vassal.
Oh.
They got islands in. They got back an island. Did Genoa get territory back?
Doesn't look like they got their land. Oh well, see, they got one province there, Matrega. That would have been taken off of the Ottomans.
I don't think Hungary got anything.
Hungary got the province of Bodoni, which is a Bulgarian province. And I think Austria is the real winner here for getting Byzantium as a subject, because that's a lot of cores that they're likely going to take back for themselves. I'm very surprised that Hungary would let Austria do that.
Ooh, Lithuania is eating up Poland in a war.
Oh man, that's one way to be to become PLC. And that's let's get to grips with this one. Lithuania is allied with Muscovy, and together they're gunning down Poland, but Bohemia is in there as well.
Yeah, Bohemia is in an alliance with Poland, fighting alone. Ooh. This is interesting. And
sure.
Venice.
Not sure I understand this one.
Venice is occupying shitloads in. Yeah, they're fighting Milan, but the Venetian armies are up in Switzerland.
Oh yeah, they're making occupations on the star now. Venice was a player, but they're AI now, and this is people just probably mopping up the last bit. I wonder who gets Venezia though. Nobody's made a claim on it.
And Benin is happily taking care of Congo. They're fighting all the Congo nations and gobbling them up, which is nice.
Byzantium has a lot of liberty desire against the Austrians. I'd love to see if players actually support Byzantium independence here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why Bohemia is in this war with Lithuania. Were they allied with Poland? I'm not seeing that. Did they guarantee them, or just get involved for the hell of it?
Oh, this is interesting. I mean...
Oh, it's Lithuanian War for Independence. On top of that, they must have been supported by Muscovy.
Oh, this is beautiful. Bohemia is having no chance.
They gotta fight Russians, they gotta fight Lithuanians, and they gotta fight plenty of Lithuanian rebels on top of that. And at the end of the day, what's Bohemia gonna get out of this? Not a lot of independent nations left in Italy that aren't player ran here. Poor Luca's holding on, but it looks like they're about to become papal food. So, oh well, witness the end of them just there. That'll be Venice down and out. I don't think Florence are going to last too much longer.
The world is getting purified. So Sweden is attacking Norway, nicely occupying them. Denmark has a peasant war.
Can't make the mistakes of letting the Norwegians be independent there. Sweden's taking it all for himself. But things broke down between Sweden and Denmark previously. I wonder if Denmark's going to be able to hold on to the Oslo area.
Yeah, but Denmark is not playing this session though, so...
Oh, right. That could be... They'll be protected for one session, but that won't be the case if they don't make it in next time.
Oh, this is beautiful. The Lithuanians and...
I'm looking at the battle, though, the one in Gardinas. That's a lot of them. Bohemia comes out on top, but with significant losses. They got no manpower. None at all.
This is bleeding their manpower fighting these nations, and all they do is trying to prop up...
prop up a failing state of Lithuania. That's very noble of them, but not what I'd expect from the French paradox.
Well, it's propping up Poland, not Lithuania.
Oh, that's true. So what, they want Poland to maintain a union over Lithuania? That just makes their expansion paths a bit more difficult to take care of.
So India started a war. Vijayanagar eating up a minor.
Oh man, it's the last of Ahmednagar there.
But the Timurids are gobbling up Multan.
The Timurids are a beast, though. I think they pack a bigger punch than the Ottomans in this campaign. And if the Timurids get any further down into India, well, there's Delhi for them. They could Mughlify.
Yeah. Ooh.
Otherwise, though, we've just got AI wars at the moment. Our one big player war has been spent. Although it's nice to see Bar back on the map. Not a nation you see often.
No. They tend to disappear immediately, basically.
I don't think they're going to last here. But we'll see. Are the French making new claims? Now they have this land available. Doesn't look like it. The French have been very laissez-faire throughout this.
Yeah.
Somebody's chiming in, wondering what the Kaiser is up to. I think he had one last war in his hands, now he'll be waiting out truces.
No, he's still fighting a war. Yes, his doom is a little bit too high, but he's basically fighting Tlaxcala.
Yeah, well, he's not going to get any achievements for high doom when playing multiplayer, but he needs to... Let's see, how's he doing on subjects? Right, he has 5 subjects. He's just going ham on the area, and he kind of has to, because as we can see, there's Castile colonizing close to him. Not to mention, alright, we haven't taken a good look at the New World here, but we have plenty of Portuguese Brazil, but we also have Moroccan South America. They'll be spitting out a colonial nation before too long. Of course, to the far north, we have England, Utrecht, but not Scotland. Or do we? No, Scotland decided to disguise themselves down in Arguin, but have they got anything else?
I'm trying to find...
I see it now. The Scots are in St. Helena.
I also see Brittany in... Did we have a Brittany player, or did he leave? I can't remember.
I thought we did, and they were playing a low-profile game. They were playing it so well, I forgot they were there.
They're in Caribbean, they are in Haiti, and they are in Antilles. We'll see.
Just spreading around there. Grugi's doing his usual propaganda. He's saying Africa's going to rise. Well, which part of Africa? Because, you know, Morocco and Tunis are part of it too. I also wonder what the relationship is with the Portuguese there. Are they going to try to get institutions spread off of them?
Maybe, but also Benin cut off Portugal from the inner lands of Congo.
Yeah, but Tunis have better lands to fry up now. In fact, his entire army is over in Alexandria. Is he planning that attack? He's already made claims on Rashid and Buhaira. And the Mamluks are allied with Yemen. I wonder if Yemen would actually protect them there. It's a great opportunity for Yemen and or Ethiopia and or Tunis to go and take over that land.
Yemen gobbled up some state in Central Arabia and gobbling up Oman. So I think Yemen is going to be a power there.
Yeah.
Ethiopia is in war as well? Or no, they lost to rebels territory in the south.
And they have quite a bit of rebels there, in fact.
Yeah. Ooh, this is beautiful. The Timurids are gobbling into India.
Oh, yes. Christ, they made a short work of Multan there. They're everywhere. Just how powerful is the Timurids right now? 40, 50, 60, over 70,000 units. Decent leadership. Great leadership. 635 ruler, conqueror. Be very afraid of the Timurids here. It's like they had to fight a big war against the Ottomans and just a bigger, redder menace are beyond them. I'm not talking about Georgia.
Oh, this is... it's like Ottomans is the pre-boss.
Yeah.
And then you go further east and you'll go into Ming.
Yeah, I wonder if this will be a Ming that holds together or comes apart. He's got a little bit of separatists, but nothing he can't take care of right now. And we'll take a look at how the Far East is doing. Now, we have no players in the Far East. In fact, previously there was nobody more east than, what, Genoa?
Ooh. Genoa is getting territory because they have a faithful ally in Hungary. Mm-hmm. And Hungary and Genoa is basically beating up Crimea to create the Genoese state around the...
Yeah, it looks like Hungary's propping up a Genoese state around Crimea. Could be beneficial. Good to have friends around as long as they don't drag you into inopportune wars. But, you know, there's only so much land you can administrate yourself. It's good to have allies that can take good control over lands you don't want for yourself. And Hungary, I don't think, would benefit from grabbing a lot of great horde land. Wrong religion, wrong culture. They can't have too many spare states going for them.
No. I mean, I'm looking at the war. It's still a war, and they still can't defeat the Venetians because they don't have naval supremacy.
Yeah, they need to hire the knights for this kind of fight.
Yeah. And there's pretender rebels in Milan, and the Venetians, they just land everywhere and just take islands. And
Yeah, I mean, for players of Venice, they really win out in 1.30. Venice got a whole lot more land here, there, and everywhere, and it's very hard to take them out completely.
And if I'm looking at the fleet, there's like the Knights fleet alone that would have no chance at all against the Venetians. Venetians outnumber them 3-1.
Jengs. Oh wow, I think the Knights must have really cut back on their fleet then, because they're down to only 14 galleys.
Yeah, but Venice lost their territory now.
They should.
They lost.
Yeah, I don't think Venice can support such a large fleet now, but still, they haven't gotten to Venice yet. Not the province. People are pointing out that the Ottomans are crippled here. No doubt that Hungary and Austria are going to come back shortly. Austria is going to want those cores for Byzantium.
We were talking about placing 3 new players in Vijayanagar, Jaunpur, and Kilva. These are not some random players. These are the QA team playing for. They've been playtesting Emperor for the last year. They are really good players.
Yeah, QA. QA have a way of being really good at the games. They got to play them a lot.
Yeah, and looking now, it's like Kilva. They're not going to the Heartland first. They're taking Sakalava, the Madagascar nation, because nobody else can read.
Yeah, nobody else. They're going to deny people from taking that land there.
Yeah, this is a great power play.
Yeah, because there's no risk of anybody taking over Moravia or these inland African nations. Gotta think about your targets when playing in multiplayer like this.
And this is why I like what Daniel did with Congo. It's like semi-friendly relations, it seems, from Portugal, but cutting love from the heartland. So it's a hard place for Portugal now because there's players everywhere, so you can't really get They have coasts. They have colonies everywhere they can reach, but they need to reach the East Indies before.
Yeah, before players start sprouting up there and ensuring they get locked out of it. And I think that's what they're trying to do, Portugal. Yeah, they've got the Cape. Have they started any more colonies since then? They have all their colonists working. I don't know why they're taking over Ezoro Gondo in South Africa. They're still working on Brazil, though. It might be difficult for them to sling themselves eastward if they're also working on their colonies in South America.
Yeah, Scotland are colonizing St. Helena. That's nice, but...
Maybe Scotland will be the one that propels themselves over to the East Indies at this rate, because they're not going to get invested in South America by this point. It would be joining in too late to a game they can't win.
And I don't understand why England is just colonizing the northeast and why they're not going for more. They have exploration ideas, but they only have one colonist.
Yeah, they've only got one from that. Exploration and innovative. Well, they'll be sharing North America with the Dutch at this rate. In fact, you can see some of their armies are over there by Massachusetts. For what reason, I do not know.
Interesting. Ethiopia is in a war, yeah, but they're fighting rebels.
Oh, sweet! Hussite got a symbol now.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
There we go.
The artist we have on, or the artist that we have on the team is just really awesome, making really cool graphics.
Nice. Oh yeah, and we've got stuff on Defender of the Faith there too. Excellent.
So let's see. Germany is still fighting Oman. It's nice. Kilva, Salakavi. Sweden, they gobble up Norway.
Yeah, is there any Norway anymore? I think they only have only got the Shetlands.
Yes.
What an awful fate for anybody.
And now Sweden is fighting Mecklenburg and Münster. They gobble up something from Danzig in the northeast, so...
Yeah, they're going for Swedish Empire, maybe a century or two a bit early, but making a good job of it.
Yeah, it's not a bad position. Saxony is also fighting there. Ooh, Saxony has two nations, or two parts of the nation. That's a nice position.
Well, they had to get to the other side of their subject, Thuringia. But now they're really locked in, Saxony. Surrounded pretty much on all sides.
Well, it's the same for multiple nations there.
Oh, Ethiopia is... What are they doing now? Alright, it's against Kaffa. In fact, Kaffa is actually the one fighting them. Now, Kaffa, although they're tiny here, they've got that sweet gold province on their fortified capital. There we go, Ethiopia's chasing down the upstarts, defeating them in battle. Ooh. But that's not all, they've got Alodia to the north who's also fighting them. That's not looking too hot for Ethiopia. I'm surprised he didn't look to Yemen to make an alliance so they could be stronger in the area. And I'm still super surprised that Yemen decided on a Mamluk alliance.
Well, he might be thinking that, okay, frankly, my lost, it's his third country. Maybe not tie himself to propping up that one when he can prop up himself.
Well, he was propping up himself quite nicely. He's circled almost all the way around Arabia there. There's just a few... Oh, Timurid provinces are in the way. How is Yemen going to deal with the Timurids?
Oh, there's a... And Timurids are into...
Timurids are friendly. They could get an alliance with them. That's what Jampur thought. Jampur went for it. Oh my, if I was in Yemen's shoes, I would be scoring that alliance. It wouldn't last forever, but it might last through the most important parts.
Such an interesting thing. But there's so... Oh yeah, Bohemia is in a war with Poland and Lithuania. So Lithuania managed to not win the liberation war.
Yeah, and because they lost out a bunch of their liberty desire, but there we go. I'm still not sure how Bohemia got involved in that war, but get involved they did. So what are they trying to take for themselves?
So Duplo has started a war against... Now, Austria started an excommunication war against Venice, with the Knights of Portugal helping them. I think they basically want to gobble up the law. Venetians. Maybe the Knights are gonna get Crete. We'll never know.
Well, maybe they'd be really nice and give the Knights Venice, but I don't think Austria is going to do that. Austria has been really greedy for the lands.
Yep.
You know, they've essentially laid claim to all of Greece through Byzantium here. And that Venetian land is very lucrative.
We're seeing another dismemberment of Poland, it looks like.
Well, hopefully they don't break them into more pieces. They're already in too many pieces.
Yes, border gore, minus 100 score. And France is doing nothing.
I think they're playing a very defensive game here.
England is allied with Savoy for some reason. I think this is an anti-French alliance.
Must be, trying to surround them there. Also, England have gone Anglican there. So Catholics are really being chased out. I think they're going to have their strongholds in Hungary, Italy, and maybe Iberia. At this point, Castile must be wondering if it's worth flipping.
This is interesting. You have like this huge lot of Catholic things, etc. But and poor Wiss is playing the papal is not going to be happy about.
Yeah, I wonder if he's trying to make Kingmaker here or not, because all these conversions will make life a little harder for the papal coffers.
Yeah, well, he has enough money for. Yeah, he's gonna have like when the. Yeah,
he's almost got enough to pick a new golden bull.
Yeah, but I think he's saving money for the Council of Trent.
Possibly.
Scotland is Catholic, though.
Yeah, Scotland's holding on, not going reformed.
No. Catholic as God ordained. No, it was supposed to reform as God ordained. That's the famous quote of King.
Well, maybe they're enjoying having a couple of cardinals and keeping it that way. But who knows? There are plenty of benefits to staying, and certainly plenty of benefits for flipping. Hungary's actually got quite a lot of bad religious stuff going on because he's absorbed all that Orthodox land.
Yeah, he needs to reduce that one.
Well, he's actually embraced humanist ideas, so I guess he's going for that. So maybe Hungary does plan to expand. Oh, right. Remember we talked about Hungary propping up Genoa as a Crimean state? Well, that looks to be Hungary that's holding on to Yidishkal themselves. Yeah. Not only that, they're fighting against Poland and Lithuania too. Well, in their own separate war.
He did give them a few promises.
Well...
He got Theodora and Adige.
Yeah.
So I think like he's having a nice little...
I think...
But Yemen is playing nicely because Yemen attacked Alodia.
Have they now?
Yeah.
Ah, so they're helping out Ethiopia with that. They're marching their units over now. It's not because of an alliance. It's a war that they've just gone to themselves, their own conquest. So maybe they're saying, "We'll help you, Ethiopia, but we're taking the land for ourselves."
Oh, go to your...
Oh yes.
Beautiful color.
The best shade of blue is on the map. I'd say the best country color out of everybody, except for maybe Gaboo.
I don't know. I always like the Venetian colors, but...
Well, there we go. There's Sardinia, Piedmont on the map.
And also I would like to see a certain dark green stripes of the Aztecs of Rome.
I'm sure it's going to be coming. Kaiser did promise us that he will be back. And since we have the Italian states so far a little bit divided, right? Sardinia, Piedmont, Milan, and the Papal State. Not to mention Naples. Although Naples is about... Oh, right. Almost forgot this about France, but France scored a personal union over Naples. And that is being absorbed as we speak. In fact, in 10 years, they'll all be speaking French down in Napoli. And this could be a considerable threat against the Wizzy Pope.
Yeah, this is a really interesting position because it's hard to fight a two-front war, but it's even harder to coordinate a war from two sides on...
Oh yeah, it's great having strength in numbers, but coordinating all those people can be really difficult, especially if wars go from battles is a big thing. Because somebody gets attacked, you don't react in time, you lose the battle, reinforcements are sent in, but they're too late.
Yeah, not ideal.
No, but we'll see. The Italians have worked together pretty well so far. What I'm really impressed with is, though, Milan, right? Not the best of situation. They were reduced a lot. But Neon DT held on, made impactful alliances, and is surviving, despite the fact that if I were the Papal States or Sardinia, Piedmont, or even Austria, I'd be carving them up. I would just say, listen everybody, let's all take a state each, and there'll be no more Milan.
Yeah, and that's why we're not gonna say... But I don't know. I was gonna say that's why the people next to him don't have trophies, but that's not true. Didn't Sir Rogers get a trophy in the Imperator?
I believe so.
And
Wiz certainly has trophies. He's got trophies to spare.
Yeah, he's got even more trophies than me.
Now, if I were Milan... Now granted, Milan's in a fairly safe situation for now, as long as his alliances hold true. But I'd probably be speaking to maybe France and Castile. Or even going to, like, Hungary and Bohemia. Do
you notice in a war? The Timurids.
Oh boy, who are they fighting? Oh,
Timurid
wow! The real end boss is now fighting against the Ottomans. Not having the best of initial fights there, but getting a look at the numbers. Ah, the Timurids are actually outnumbered here. What's the nature of the war? Yeah, the Timurids are the ones attacking. This is a great opportunity for anybody wanting to fight back into the Ottomans, and for Hungary and Austria, that's 6 years away.
There's
Their armies are still wrecked, though that Hungarian manpower is still flat out 0. He doesn't have mercenaries either. Probably doesn't want to lose all the dosh. So Hungary's also come away with a good other chunk of Lithuania. What is his plan? I was talking about how there's no way Hungary would be taking over that Great Horde land, but he's poised and in position for it.
I think Hungary is aiming to be the new Russia or something.
Could be. You know, he has to race a few other nations to it. Danzig tried for that, but it isn't happening. But Denmark and Sweden are both going towards it. But I don't know. I've got a bit of faith in Hungary here, and if they want to become the next Russia, I'd be very impressed to see it.
It's interesting though that colonialism has not spread perfectly well.
Well, it spawned at a killer point though.
Portugal has it, England has it, Aragon has it, most of the smaller states have it, and Bohemia and Italy has it, but France does not.
Yeah, they're a bit insulated here.
It's spreading quickly in the colonies.
Yeah, they're gonna give Kaiser Johann access to it, I think, when he finishes up whatever he's doing here. He's not at war, which is very unusual.
Yeah, and he
yeah.
can pick another reform.
And he just did. There we go. He's gone for the war exhaustion reduction.
Then it's just a colonist one, and he's...
And he's set. He could reform his religion. He will, however, need a neighbor to do this from. I don't know if he's the... Well, I noticed this now. He's got a couple of provinces down in Guatemala and Iximichi, which is very close to that Castilian colony. So I think he's going to try to reform off Castile.
Probably.
There's a question coming in saying how many new provinces are in the update. I don't have the number to hand. Do you remember?
Many.
Many. There certainly are quite a lot.
At least, like, we could probably ask, like, what's his name?
Neon DT would know.
Neon DT. I was just thinking of people as their real names for some of them because Casillan started another war.
Again, I was just looking at his nation, but there he goes again.
I mean, this is fun because it's like
he's just fighting anyone and everyone he can. His aggressive expansion is holding out just fine, but
he's playing.
I think Grugi just accidentally switched his nation there.
Yeah. What did he do?
I think he became New Providence instead of Timbuktu. I've seen him. Time to declare war. Alright, Grugi, what you gonna do?
Yeah, we need to rehost.
Yeah, looks like the Groog's gonna go for a rehost. That was meant to be me, says